The original storyboard drawings for the Team Rose opening cutscene show both Amy Rose and Cream the Rabbit drinking martinis at a beach cabana. These drinks were not included in the final game, likely because both of these characters are children, as Cream is supposed to be only 6 years old and Amy is supposed to be 12. According to Sonic Heroes game designer Shiro Makawa, there were initially supposed to be 6 teams playable in Sonic Heroes. First would have been Team Sonic, as we already know them, and Team Chaotix is unchanged with Espio, Charmy, and Vector, but the other 4 teams are very different from what we saw in the final release. Originally, Chaos, 𝐒102 Gamma, and Big the Cat were planned to be a team together. Amy, Cream, and Rouge were supposed to be a team. Fang, Bean, and Bark were also supposed to be a team. And lastly, Metal Sonic, Ray, and Mighty would have been a team. Also, none of these teams include Shadow the Hedgehog, as these planned teams were very likely made before they decided to bring him back after Sonic Adventure 2, as it was originally planned that he would die in SA2 and not return. This means the 6 teams were likely conceptualized extremely early into the game's development. The stage Lost Jungle was originally supposed to have its own unique boss fight rather than the regular fight between teams that made it into the final game. We know this because in the script for the game's dialogue, there's mention of a giant plant boss right after Lost Jungle for Team Sonic. If you grab a pull switch with a power character and then switch through the characters, you can cause the power character's body to distort in very unnatural ways or just straight up disappear. This works with every power character in the game and is really easy to do. Big the Cat is a bit extra broken, as there's a way to glitch him out that only works for him. If you go near a ledge and do one of Big's belly flops right before switching to flight formation, you'll get pushed off the ledge and Big's body will contort in all kinds of ways while you fall to the ground. Another glitch involving the power characters requires the Team Blast and one of these gongs. Normally in stages you punch these gongs and progress forwards. However, if you hit the gong, switch to flight formation, and use Team Blast while the launch animation happens, you can cause the Team Blast cutscene to fully glitch out and softlock the game. You can still pause and exit the level, but that is the only way to escape this Team Blast cutscene. This works with every team in the game, but personally, I think the Team Rose and Team Chaotix ones are the most interesting. Also, shout out to DarkspinesSonic for discovering this glitch. I tried to recreate it and record my own footage, but I'm just too slow to make those inputs happen fast enough. If you are playing as Team Dark, then you can experience a fun little Easter egg. First, switch to Shadow, and then go into first person mode by adjusting the camera. Every so often when you do this, you can see Rouge look over at Shadow and wink. Rouge originally had a different outfit design than what we see in the final game. Her original outfit was much darker and resembles the colors of Omega and Shadow more than the traditional pink that we know Rouge for. You can see the outfit here in a render that was made very early into the game's development. You can even see that the Sonic Heroes logo is much different than the final logo. The Team Blast for Team Chaotix lasts 12 seconds long in the Japanese version of the game, but was changed to 9 seconds long for all other versions of the game. This is because in the Japanese version, the cutscene length is determined by the voice lines of the characters, which are much longer in Japanese than in English. When Team Chaotix uses their Team Blast, you can actually hear all of them singing their own song. It is really hard to hear in the final game because they all sing over each other, but you can hear the songs much more clearly when you listen to the voice lines on their own.
Born in the darkness to live in the darkness, that's the ninja's creed.
Bee, bee, bee! Charmy the bee! Charmy the bee's got lots of honey!
Yeah, I'm the one, I'm Vector the crocodile.
Right before the fight between Team Rose and Team Chaotix, Big says,
It's not nice to tease my friend.
but if you play the French version, you can see that the subtitles are mistranslated in a funny
It's
way.
not nice to tease my friend.
This line here translates to, I love teasing my friends, which is the complete opposite of what this line should be. At some point in the game's development, there was something called an Omochao gate that was going to be part of the game's level design. These likely would have required you to talk to or in some way activate a nearby Omochao to advance. We know about these because there are a bunch of unused voice lines referencing these gates.
Looks like that Omochao has something to do with this gate.
Omochao is the guardian of this gate.
Wow! A gate with the symbol of Omochao! How cool!
Looks like a key won't open this gate. Maybe that Chow has something to do with it.
In Hang Castle, towards the end of the stage, you can see a giant Eggman statue. If you hit one of these switches to go upside down, you can see that the statue is now changed to be a Neo Metal Sonic statue. This is one of the hints that Eggman is not really the true villain of this game. In this room in Mystic Mansion, you can find 4 marble egg pawn statues. The positions these egg pawns are in are all references to real famous statues. This one here is a reference to The Thinker by Auguste Rodin. This one is a reference to Venus de Milo. And the last 2 are both references to the statue of David by Michelangelo. In Team Rose's version of Mystic Mansion, it is actually possible to access a hidden alternate goal ring. When you get to the end of the stage, instead of grabbing the regular goal ring, you can use Cream to fly up here where you can access Team Sonic's version of the stage. Everything loads in normally just as if you were playing as Team Sonic. The characters even say voice lines for certain sections, even though the game wouldn't expect you to ever get to these areas with Team Rose. It is quite difficult to actually finish the stage though, as Amy does not have Sonic's Lightspeed Dash, and the end of Team Sonic section does have a long trail of rings that you have to cross. Luckily, you can use Cream to cover this gap by using a glitch to greatly extend your flight meter. Once you clear this gap, you can finish the stage normally and collect the extra goal ring. In the PC port, you can open up one of the game's files and add the line charmy_shutup1 to mute most in-game voice lines that do not have a subtitle attached to them. This is kinda crazy, as this is something the developers specifically added to the game. They apparently are also not the biggest fans of Charmy B. Near the end of Bingo Highway, there's a hidden vault you can access by pulling a switch. At this section here, about halfway through the stage, you can ride up this falling platform to find a switch. Pull that and it will open a door up ahead. Behind that door is a vault that the characters even recognize as the location where Eggman hides his money. In the 2-player battle mode, if you hold A and Y while selecting a stage, your characters will spawn as metal versions of themselves instead of the normal versions. There's something kind of eerie about seeing metal versions of these characters. Even Cream's Chow Cheese becomes metal. I wonder if these were initially supposed to be a part of the story at some point in development, as we see Metal Sonic download each character's properties throughout the story, potentially with the goal to build bots like these ones. If you collect all 120 emblems and get all 141 A ranks in the game, you can unlock Super Hard Mode for Team Sonic. This makes the levels harder than even Team Dark's levels, as it changes and alters the layouts quite a bit to make them, super hard. There's more enemies will be higher level than usual, there'll be more spike balls, normal routes might be blocked, launch pads are often replaced with trails of rings, stuff like that. There aren't any bosses in Super Hard Mode, and there are no A ranks or scoring. Once you complete Super Hard Mode, you are simply shown the credits with no extra reward or prize for going through all of these hard missions. Eggman has discovered anti-gravity tech in this game, as the egg pawns are immune to gravity when they're sleeping. At the start of Team Chaotix's Grand Metropolis stage, there are 2 egg pawns sleeping on top of crates. If you use Espio's camouflage power and destroy the crates, the 2 egg pawns will stay floating in the air until your camo either runs out or you wake up the egg pawns. Egg pawns can also defy gravity in Seaside Hill with Team Sonic. If you use Sonic's tornado power right before this cannon section here, it's possible to get one of the egg pawns to land on top of the palm tree and get stuck. They will stay like this until you hit them out of the tree. They are not able to get out on their own. There is a consistent glitch that you can perform during the cutscenes prior to the Eggman bot fight levels. Each of these cutscenes start with Eggman flying towards the characters. If you press the B button right before the characters are shown, the game will actually recognize your B press and cause the cutscenes to freak out. You can do this with each team, and it works for every single boss fight that has you fighting waves of the egg pawn enemies. I recommend just mashing the hell out of the B button. It's much easier doing it that way than trying to time a single B press.
accept your apologies and payment with your lives. Want some? Come and get it. On guard.
Guard on!
Get them.
Within the game's files on the PC version, there's an unused model for a kunai. It is unclear what exactly this would have been used for in the final game, but it is possible that Espio was going to have some sort of kunai projectile at some point in development, as we do see him throw a kunai in the opening cutscene for Team Chaotix's story.
What's wrong with you?
When Sonic Heroes first released, SEGA actually had a partnership with McDonald's that allowed fans to get Sonic toys with their Happy Meals. There were a bunch of different games available in these Happy Meals. One for Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, Shadow, Cream, and even Big. For some reason, Rouge and Amy shared a game despite not being on the same team. Shadow and Omega also shared one too, but at least they were both on Team Dark. I actually own the Tails game myself. The battery still works too, even though I've had this since 2004, when I myself got it out of a Happy Meal. Team Rose's theme song, Follow Me, has a reference to the first Sonic Adventure game. During the guitar solo, you can hear the singer say, "Pop pop paya paya," which is a direct reference to Amy's theme, My Sweet Passion, from the first Sonic Adventure game. Sonic and Metal Sonic both share the same voice actors in both the Japanese and English versions of the game. The voice lines for Metal Sonic are the actors doing their Sonic voices while sounding more angry and edgy. On top of that, they also added a filter.
All living things kneel before your master.
All living things kneel before your master.
There are a lot of unused voice lines for Omega in the Mario Kart Double Dash bonus disc demo. Most of these voice lines showcase the raw, unedited voice lines for Omega prior to any editing or filters.
I am Omega, the ultimate E-Series robot. Annihilation. Charge. Paralysis. Mission fail. Worthless consumer models. You are weak.
For some reason, certain voice lines in the final version of the PC port got muted. One example of this is Team Rose's A-Rank voice line. If you get an A-Rank and Cream is your highest scoring character, then there is no voice line that plays after the A-Rank like there usually is. Instead, all you get is silence. In all other versions of the game, her voice line plays normally. If you get an E rank with Team Dark but have Omega as your highest scoring character, you can hear him say a voice line referencing Gamma and Beta.
I couldn't even beat Gamma or Beta.
Every character appears in the main character selection screen except for Cream's Chow Cheese. He appears with her everywhere else in the game except here. In the PC version of the game, there are actually unused animations in the files that show Cheese locking in with the others just like when they get selected in the character select screen. This means he was very likely meant to be on this screen with Cream, but was not included for whatever reason. Despite being considered an average or mixed game by reviewers, Sonic Heroes was the highest selling 3D Sonic game prior to Sonic Frontiers being released. The PS2 and PC versions did not receive very good reviews, as Metacritic gave those versions a 64 and a 66 out of 100 respectively, whereas the other two versions of the game received a 72 and 73 out of 100, just below the reviews that Frontiers got. Sonic Heroes was the first multi-platform Sonic the Hedgehog game. Because it was released on 4 very different platforms, there are lots of differences between each version of the game. One of the biggest differences is the loading times. The Xbox version is typically the fastest, as it loads up in about 5 to 6 seconds, GameCube is next at about 10 seconds, and PlayStation is the slowest at about 15 to 20 seconds. The PC version is hard to judge, as it largely depends on the specs of your computer, but it is typically about as fast as the Xbox version. The PS2 may have the slowest load time, but for some reason it has the fastest chaos control time for Team Dark. In every other version of the game, the Team Blast freezes time for 10 seconds, but for some reason on the PS2 it lasts only 5 seconds. The PC version of the game came with bonus features on the disc that included custom cursors and wallpapers for your PC. No other versions of the game had any other similar features. Each version of the game runs at a different resolution. The PS2 version is the lowest quality as it only runs at 30 FPS and 448p, whereas the GameCube and Xbox versions run at 480p and 60 FPS, although the Xbox version has considerably more slowdown than the GameCube version. Also, for some reason, the Xbox version of the game states that it can run at 720p on the back of the case, which is just straight up not true. Only the PC version is capable of having resolutions that high. And on that note, Sonic Heroes is actually the first Sonic the Hedgehog game to support HD, as the PC version is capable of handling high definition graphics. There are even mods that exist which make the game run much smoother and fix many of the issues that this version has. With that in mind, the PC version is very likely the best version to play nowadays. The GameCube version of the game in Europe gives gamers the option to play in 60Hz mode. Despite that though, the game simply just takes the 50Hz mode and forces it to run at 60Hz by speeding the game up 20%. So if you want to play an even faster version of Sonic Heroes, give that a try. The PS2 and GameCube versions both have gameplay demos that will start to play if you sit idle on the title screen for too long. These were for some reason removed from the PC and Xbox versions. Even more weirdly, they are still present in the game's files on the PC version, they just weren't implemented for whatever reason. The water and lava effects vary greatly between each version of the game. GameCube and the PC version have the highest quality effects for these areas, and the PlayStation and Xbox version are a bit lacking in comparison. A more minor difference between consoles is Big's eyes. In the PS2 and PC version, there's no noticeable glow from Big's eyes when he is in the dark. However, on the GameCube and Xbox versions, you can clearly see Big's eyes glowing when he is in the dark. The GameCube really is the superior console version of this game. Wait, actually, in the Rail Canyon opening cutscene, you can see Big's ears move on the PS2 and Windows version, but not the GameCube and Xbox versions. This game is so inconsistent on the version differences. Also, as soon as the camera cuts away from Big on the PC version, you can see that his ears are no longer moving. In the final game, Shadow and Sonic are the only two speed characters that have access to the Tornado Jump ability. Originally though, all 4 speed characters were planned to have this. They each have their own colors designated in the game's files, and they even have some unused voice lines for these attacks.
Take this!
Summoning ninja power!
In Japan, Sonic Heroes was originally scheduled to release on December 18th, but was pushed back to December 30th, a month before the original release date, as there were many bugs and issues with their build of the game. There was one bad bug in particular that prevented door switches from working, therefore preventing players from advancing and beating the game. If you are playing the PC version, then you have access to a fun glitch that isn't possible in the other versions. If you use a power character's glide while going through a loop or running up a wall, you can send the characters flying up in the air at high speeds. You can actually use this to break the game quite a lot and skip through large chunks of stages. Within the game's files, there are a bunch of unused voice lines for Eggman. These voice lines would trigger when you lose a life in one of his boss battles, but for some reason they were never added to the final game.
Team Sonic? You must be joking. Without me, Team Dark is nothing but a bunch of buffoons. This is no place for little girls or a big fat cat. You call yourselves detectives? Just run along now. Try coming back in about 1,000,000 years.
Unidas, who is a common enemy in the Sonic Adventure games, is not present in Sonic Heroes normally. However, he is present within the files of the E3 demo of the game, hinting that he was planned to be in the game, but never made the final release. In Casino Park, there is a hidden VIP table that you can access by hitting a switch near the top of the previous pinball table. By hitting the switch, you can gain access to this area that is blocked by lasers. You can also just simply rocket accelerate through the lasers by using your invincibility frames to clip through. You can get rings pretty fast in this VIP pinball area, but there really isn't much of a point to it, as there is no requirement to collect rings for Team Sonic in this stage, and there's no use for rings outside of stages like in the adventure games. Interestingly, there are voice lines for Team Rose in-game that mention the VIP room. This is interesting because there's no way to access the VIP table with Team Rose without cheats, as their version of Casino Park ends before you can reach this table.
So this is the VIP room, huh?
What's a VIP?
This room is for special people, Mr. Big. There's supposed to be a really gorgeous room past these stairs. There's no way we can get in, Amy. Let's go.
There's a misprint that is present in some manuals of Sonic Heroes that states Sonic is only 8 years old, rather than the 15 years old that he is in every other game or piece of Sonic the Hedgehog media. An early version of the Xbox release of the game has been archived and even had music ripped from it. This early version featured many songs that differed from the final versions that are present in the game. Most of the songs are pretty similar to their final releases with some minor changes. I honestly think some of them sound just as good, if not better, than the versions in the final game. Have a quick listen. And that was 50 useless Sonic Heroes facts for you. Let me know in the comments how many of these facts you already knew about. Also, you should let me know what game you'd like to see me cover next. I am very open to suggestions. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to check out my facts videos for both Sonic Adventure 1 and 2. They are just as good as this one. Thank you to everyone who clicked the like button. It helps out my channel a lot. And thank you to all the channel supporters. Without you, I would not be able to create content and stream regularly. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Take care.